Can a 10-year-old camera still outshoot one of the most hyped cameras on the market today? Well, we're about to find out. I have decided to test both of these cameras out for real. And I know that you guys probably have seen all the usual ARRI Alexa Mini versus Sony FX3 comparison videos blasted literally all over YouTube. So instead of doing another one of those overhyped YouTube comparison videos, we actually have both cameras on an actual working film set. That's right. We're out here filming this Western film called Lone Oak. It's actually a promo. You know, we're trying to lock in investors for a full feature film. Now, on this project in particular, I was the camera operator, but with all of us combined, we have put these cameras through their paces, and by the end of this shoot, we're gonna know, does the Alexa Mini still hold its crown, or have we just been romanticizing it like an old Western outlaw? Okay, before we get deep into it, here's the thing. These two cameras actually have a lot more in common than you might expect. They both shoot cinematic footage. They both give you log profiles, like the Log C3 on the Alexa Mini and the S-Log 3 on the FX3. You do have a lot of flexibility in post-production, and they're both small enough to mount on a gimbal or even throw on a drone if you're feeling bold. But disclaimer for you guys, I did not do that. They both have time code and they both have monitor outputs and they have enough IO to keep your DIT happy. So on paper, they're both kind of workhorses, right? But once we hit the set, that's when the real differences started to show.
Right now, we're gonna get a shot from up there on the ledge, kind of aim down towards them, and doing a duo. Yeah, doing a duel. Duel, and we're using blanks, so it's very loud, it's very cool. Luke, you still need sticks, right?
No, I'm not gonna do sticks. I'll just have it over a banister, block it off.
Okay.
I don't want to carry sticks up there. Oh, and this is where a first AC comes in handy.
Is that a good distance?
Yeah.
It gives me a little bit of a...
Only problem, it's very shadowy. Let's... Here, could I get you standing here in this little patch of light?
Okay. Camera set.
Camera set. All right. 3, 2, 1, action.
The Alexa Mini, it does use the Super 35 sensor. It's not full frame, but it was built for cinema. Like a lot of movies were filmed with the Alexa Mini. There's a reason for it, right? The color, the highlight roll off, the texture, it just got that classic ARRI look that we all know and that we all love, right? And this thing hasn't changed in over 10 years. Now, on the other hand, we have the FX3, and the FX3 is a full frame sensor. It's actually the same sensor that's used in the Sony a7S III. It doesn't really matter which camera that you're using between the a7S III or the FX3, you're still getting the same sensor. Camera speeding.
Fire in the hole! Fire in the hole. Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead. Action.
Thing is, with that full frame sensor, you can actually feel it, like wider field of view, shallower depth of field, and way more flexible in low light. So they're both cinematic, the Alexa Mini and the FX3, but they're cinematic in different ways. Like Alexa's got their filmic softness in the color, right? And the FX3, it has that clean, modern versatility. And fun fact, The FX3 was actually used on a TV series called Severance, and if you haven't seen that show, oh my gosh, it is on Apple TV, and I seriously want to encourage you to go watch it because the cinematography is literally mind-blowing. I love that show. They shot most of Severance on the Sony Venice, but they did use the FX3 for their go-to on a lot of the moving shots. So yeah, the FX3, it's not just a budget prosumer camera, it's a real tool.
I mean, one of the main things that's really known for is just low light capabilities. That's kind of really where it kind of smokes everyone out of the water, and that's why a lot of people in the industry are switching over this as soon as it goes to nighttime.
This is where the FX3 starts to shine. It's got dual native ISO, base ISO at 800, secondary base at 12,800, and yeah, that higher ISO is actually usable. We had a campfire scene on this Western, and with this, we had Graham shoot this using the A7S III mounted on his DJI Ronin, and the A7S III handled it like a champ.
Eight, take 5, Mark.
Okay,
Okay, here we go. Everybody ready?
and camera is set.
Action. Okay, Tyler. You get paid to make sure this kind of thing doesn't happen.
We literally lit that scene with the campfire, a Aperture 300D, and a big old power moon. The Alexa, well, we didn't even try shooting it at night because obviously it has one base ISO at 800 and low light, it sucks. If you want to push shadows on this thing, you better bring a ton of light.
This thing is a beast. It is heavy. When I say heavy, it's heavy. It's about 22 pounds fully loaded, 14 pounds on a very light scale. And his rig is probably maybe 5 pounds if that. So there is a big difference on ergonomics and how you handle everything.
All right, let's talk numbers. And I'm not talking about pricing yet. I'm talking about resolution. The Alexa Mini, it tops out at 3.4K in open gate if you actually pay for the license on it. The Alexa does record up to ProRes 4444XQ, and it can shoot ARRI RAW if you buy the separate license, and you have to purchase both the 4x3 and the ARRI RAW license to make it work. Now, in most situations, you can shoot with ProRes and get away with it, right? But when you're on a bigger production, you do want that extra flexibility in post, so RAW does come in handy. The FX3, it does shoot full UHD 4K, and it does record up to 10-bit 422 using XAVC. You can shoot RAW using an external monitor like the Atomos. The FX3 is still really solid, especially for the price tag.
If you guys need to do a run and gun, this thing is not for you because you need a full crew to run with this thing.
I just saw the Red Dead poster in the back there.
Yeah, right? All right, go ahead. Right now we're testing for dynamic range.
With the dynamic range on both these cameras, this is where things really started to show. The Alexa is rated at around 14.8 usable stops, and you just got a lot of room to play with because it is extremely clean. It's extremely easy to work with in DaVinci Resolve. Now, Sony, on the other hand, Sony says the FX3 hits over 15 stops, but real, it's more like 12.6. It's still solid, but honestly, I feel like the Alexa wins hands down. You have something like the FX3, you can move faster, you can react to light changes, and you can get tighter with timing using the FX3. With the ARRI Alexa Mini, it takes that extra time to light everything properly and get everything set before you actually shoot. All right, let's talk about numbers, and this time we're talking about money. The ARRI Alexa Mini is discontinued, meaning that ARRI no longer sells this camera, and it's kind of a benefit to us as, indie filmmakers, because now we can pick this camera up for around $15,000 to $20,000. I know, it's still a lot, but regardless, ARRI is the only camera manufacturer out there that holds its value, and it holds its value for a reason. The FX3, on the other hand, you could pick it up brand new for $4,000. For what the FX3 can do and what it can offer, it does offer you guys a crazy value, all right? So what did we actually do on this shoot? Well, we used the Alexa Mini for all of our A-cam work, right? Our dialogue scenes, our wides, our hero shots. The A7S3 and the FX3, it handled all the quick stuff, like the behind the scenes, the gimbal shots, the night scenes, all the inserts, anything we didn't really have time to relight. But at the end of the day, it's not about which camera is better. It's about what camera fits your shoot. Like, if you got crew, time, lighting, and want that high-end cinema look, well, then Alexa will be your go-to all day, right? But if you're shooting solo and you need to move fast or you're working in low light, then the FX3 is going to be your best friend. It's actually kind of like comparing a vintage Mustang to a Tesla. One's got legacy and soul and the other is sleek, efficient, and does a ton more work for less. Neither one is wrong, it just depends on the ride you're taking. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a like, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, practice and create.